News and Reviews. This program aims to inform you of the programs and exhibitions that are going on at the galleries in Halifax for the coming week. Today we're going to talk about exhibits at the Mount St. Vincent Art Gallery. I'm Mary Sparling, the director of the gallery, and I'm very pleased to be able to spend time today with Dr. Seth, who is a member of our faculty at Mount St. Vincent University and who is himself a Hindu. He will be able to shed considerable light on a very complex exhibit that we have called Brahma and Buddha. And the exhibit comes to us as part of the National Gallery's 100th anniversary celebration, and we're fortunate enough to be able to have this exhibit as well as 4 other exhibit centers across the country. Now, Dr. Seth, you've been at pains to explain to me that you're not an expert in art, but that since you are a Hindu, you do know what the sculpture is about.
That's right.
Would you like to explain that a bit?
Yes, I'm a Hindu, and I'm a strong devotee of certain gods and goddesses, especially goddess Durga and also god Shiva. I have never had any formal training in art or Hindu religion. This is a part and parcel of my education. When we were given a degree, we were supposed to learn something about our religion, and I did study the scriptures. I'm a student of Sanskrit and I know Hindi, so therefore I know quite a bit about Hinduism. At the same time, most of the things that we learn come from our forefathers, who often give us stories about our old mythologies and also the rituals that we observe in our everyday life. For example, we have very frequent recitals of Bhagavad Gita and other Vedas, and we learn quite a bit from that. Art is a part and parcel of our religion. In fact, it is used to express the feelings of devotees. And most of the artists are supposed to be strong devotees of God. And they are supposed to observe some rituals before they go to stone and start carving pictures or sculptures, various things.
Now, we have quite a lot of that work here in the gallery. This general installation shot shows some of the variety that is here at the moment. It's really confusing to a non-Indian or a non-Hindu. Would you speak generally for a few minutes now of that, some of that variety?
Yes, I would say that there are 3 very important things that we observe in Indian art. Number 1, all of our art depicts the relationship between God and music. So there is a very strong relationship between the depictions that we have in the sculptures and the musical aspects of our life. Secondly, most of our artistic depictions symbolizes various things which are very important to our life, so it's very symbolic. And thirdly, there is quite a bit of sensuousness in Indian art, but I think very often foreign observers look at the sensuousness as if it is designed to promote their baser instincts. But in actual fact, the sensuousness is designed to take away the devotee from this world and to take him into the ethereal region where he can very easily admire the beauty of God and divert his mind from the earthly problems, so that he can very easily become one with the universe, or perhaps one with the ultimate spirit of God. So I would say that these 3 things are very, very significant and important. And art is the most important vehicle which is used by devotees to express their feelings and devotion to God.
Now, in cutting into some of that variety, perhaps we could begin with a sculpture of Buddha.
Yeah. Well, if you look at this, any sculpture of Buddha, you will find that Buddha very often is depicted in a pose which depicts a yogi who is meditating. You know, this meditation comes from a person who was a son of a king. So therefore, there is a certain amount of royalty depicted in that particular sculpture. You see a crown on his head, for example, and you see his ears are long, and his ears are long because he was used to wearing diamond earrings on his ears, and therefore it shows that he's coming from a royal descent. The other thing which is quite important about this particular sculpture is the pose, the serenity, the calmness. It speaks for itself. If you look at his eyebrows, you can see how calm and serene he is. So he's trying to inspire that serenity, that calmness, that spirit of meditation. And it appears that he's concentrating on something, and that concentration is supposed to be on the third eye, which is the sound that we have, the rhythm that we have between ourselves and Almighty God. One can also see very clearly in his sculpture that he is sitting on a throne which is placed on 3 loins. Now, loins represent power. And this particular sculpture is designed to show that he was a sort of a dominating power himself. So he's sitting on 3 very important, powerful beings, and he's preaching. Now, his hand, which you find on his lap, indicates a posture of meditation. And if you examine his feet, for example, you see his feet are open up. And this is a sort of a typical pose that you have to have in order to meditate. Because in this pose, one can always get into a trance and forget about this whole world. Then the body becomes a body which is a soul but not a body, because it's a soul without a body. So it's more or less in the ethereal region, and is trying to sort of become one with the universe. And I think one very important thing about this particular sculpture is opened hand. On the right-hand side, his hand is touching the earth, which in fact is designed to tell that the earth is a witness to something that he has experienced. He had had communication with God, and that communication gave him some messages, and he's trying to pass on those messages to the humanity at large. And the artist's design is explaining that, is depicting that, and is very vividly depicted in this particular sculpture. One can also see the robes that he has, very thin robes, and more or less you can see through that particular robe, which is designed to tell that how simple was the life of this great God, I would say, who was trying to preach the word of God to human beings in a particular pose.
Now, there are many depictions of Buddha, but as you said earlier in your opening remarks, the Indian art deals with symbols, and the symbols that are important to recognize in any depiction of Buddha are the halo around the head.
That's right.
The third eye.
That's right.
And the pose.
Yeah.
And the power that's expressed in the figure sitting on the lions. Could we move now to another of the sculptures, and this time not to an actual historic figure as Buddha was, but to one of the many gods?
That's right. I think we have in our religion, in Hinduism, a very important god who is considered to be the god of destruction, that is the Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva represents 2 very important things in our life. Number 1, the spirit of meditation. Number 2, he represents the essence of music. Because we see him always in these sculptures with one sort of drum in his hand, which is supposed to be beating all the time. And this is again the role which is played by rhythm or sound in Hinduism. And we also find that he has some snakes around his neck. Now, these snakes are symbolic. That means he has controlled the evils, spirits, and therefore he is a dominating god in that sense of the term. And he's also supposed to be a god of destruction at the same time. Well, of course, because you can't have any creation without having any destruction. So there are times when God has to destroy certain things so that a new era is born, a new age is developed. Apart from that, Lord Shiva is supposed to have spent a greater part of his life in meditation in certain parts of Himalayas. We have old temples which depicts places which were more or less visited by Lord Shiva. For instance, there is one part of Himalayas where we have a very ancient temple where we have a lingam, and that lingam is formed by snow. Each year on certain days, if you go there, you will find the whole lingam develop automatically by snow, and it disappears with time. And then once again, at that very particular day, the next year, it is formed again, and devotees go there to pray to Lord Shiva.
So in this particular sculpture of Lord Shiva, what are the characteristics that we can identify Lord Shiva in other sculptures?
This particular sculpture that you have in the gallery depicts Lord Shiva as a god of destruction. You see there are some teeth protruding out of his face, which indicates that he has the power to destroy. There is a bowl in his hand which indicates that he's carrying something, and most probably I think I can guess that he's carrying blood of those evil spirits that he might have killed in the meantime. So he has in one hand what we call the sword, which is supposed to destroy evil spirits, and he has at the same time a crown on his head, and there are snakes which are protruding right on the top of his head. I think all these things are supposed to depict his symbolic
characteristics. Yes. Now, right beside this statue or piece of sculpture is another one that bears a relationship to Lord Shiva.
Right. Now, that is a sculpture of Ganesh. Now, Ganesh, in fact, gets a very important place in Hindu religion, and all of the rituals cannot be carried out without having the idol of Ganesh. We keep that idol before ourselves. It's interesting to see that this particular idol carries a head, which is a head of an elephant, and very often people in the Western world can't understand as to how come that you have a human being having an elephant head. But there's a long story to it. We have in our mythology the story of Parvati, who was the wife of Lord Shiva, and it is said that once Parvati went into trance, and she stayed in that trance for more than 10 years. And when she came out of the trance, she wanted to have a bath. And it is said that she created a child, which is a divine being in itself, and that child was supposed to look after her mother while she was having a bath. So he was standing outside that particular cabin where she was having a bath. In the meantime, it is said that Lord Shiva came and he said, "Who are you?" And he says, my mother is having a bath inside." He said, "How come? I don't have any son." So he took his sword and he took his head off. He chopped his head. And when Parvati came to know that his son has been killed, she was very upset, and she wanted Lord Shiva to bring back her son. And it is said that Lord Shiva went out and he wanted to have something to put on his head. And it appears that he got the head of an elephant, which he put on this particular child, and then from that time onward we have the Ganesh with a long trunk, which in fact is nothing else than the depiction or the expression of the divine spirit, because he himself was created in that particular Holy Spirit. So it depicts religion, it depicts purity, it's symbolic.
I have a sense in looking at these 32 pieces in the gallery that there is a tremendous interrelationship between the human and the animal world that is also being expressed by the sculpture that's there. This recognition that there really aren't the barriers between animals and man that Western civilization or perhaps Christianity had taught us to accept.
You're very right, Mary, on this. Not only we have this type of relationship with the animal world, but also in the world of humanity, our religion does not really bring about any distinction between males and females. In fact, Hinduism has got more goddesses, than gods. I'm very much a strong devotee of a goddess. And most of our goddesses are females, and females are represented as power.
And we have again, a sculpture of one of your favorite goddesses here,
That's
haven't
right.
we?
You have the sculpture of goddess Durga. Though she's supposed to have 6 hands. In certain cases, she is depicted as having 15 hands. But the most important sculpture of goddess Durga comes as a beautiful lady, extremely beautiful. With all her ornaments conspicuously displayed. You will see in the sculpture that you have there, she has an ornament round her neck, and there's a pendant hanging right between her breasts, which sort of is designed to portray beauty. And at the same time, she has got 6 hands, and these 6 hands are supposed to hold different symbols. For example, in one of her hands, we always see in many other depictions, she is holding a pot which is burning with light. Now that is supposed to indicate that she is a source of light and knowledge. And even in the sculpture you see on the 2 sides, on her head, on the 2 sides of her head, you find that there are 2 beautiful ladies depicted. And these 2 ladies are shown as the source of knowledge, Vidyadhara they call it. And then you have in another hand, she is carrying a lotus. In another hand, she's carrying a shield, a protection. In another hand, she's carrying a sword. And we also have this lady depicted, or this goddess depicted, as riding a lion. You know, she always rides on a lion, and this lion is supposed to be a power, and she is supposed to have controlled and dominated this power. You will very often find her carrying a vessel in her hand. There's a small pot in her hand, and that particular vessel is supposed to be full of water, which she distributes among her devotees. And anybody who prays in front of her or who admires her beauty very often gets his wishes fulfilled. And we have a very old temple in India where people go once a year, twice a year on foot. It is located in one part of Himalayas, and it's in a beautiful cave. You go there and you pray to her, and many people find that their wishes are fulfilled because of the relationship they establish with this goddess. But this is not a relationship between one human being and another human being. You know, the art, in fact, was a media, and the pictures that we have are means to an end. The end is the achievement of God, which probably is formless. And these shapes, or human shapes, that God has taken in order to preach His doctrine to human beings were purely means to an end, and not an end in itself.
And in the Hindu religion, I understand that it's the exterior of the temples that is the decorated part, where you'll find these sculptures, but not in the interior.
Yes, to an extent you're right. If you go to a Buddhist temple, you will find that the exteriors are decorated, especially the gateways, and you'll find these gateways are depicted with beautiful artistic creations. But when you enter the temple, you'll find practically nothing there. It is just a sort of a big ground. There's a small canopy there somewhere in the center where people are supposed to sit down and pray to God, because Buddhism believes in meditation, in yoga. Whereas in Hindu temples, the story is entirely different. Hindu temples, you'll find them decorated from outside, but when you go inside, it's nothing else but pure decoration and pure art. Even the idols of Lord Krishna, for instance, have all kinds of decorations and all kinds of gold used in developing these artistic creations. Very often they're made of marbles, but we have quite a bit of decoration, quite a bit of art depicted within the temples. Because I would say that Hinduism in itself is nothing else but art depicted and represented in different ways. Because in the olden times they didn't have any media. And I think this was one of the most important tools which was used by great saints to sort of present their
spread the word
to their devotees.
And a rather similar tradition existed in the use of stained glass all over Europe among Christians, for those people who were not yet literate, to learn about the stories according to the Christian tradition. All these pieces that we have here in the gallery are architectural fragments, and they give some idea to those of us who have not had the opportunity to go to India of the complexity of the work. Does it surprise you?
No, I am quite familiar with these with these sculptures. I have seen them throughout my life. But I think we can very easily talk about the skill and the dexterity of the sculptures, of the artists who were able to portray to us not only Hindu mythology, but also the various kinds of rituals that we practice in our religion.
They're working in stone.
Most of them are in stones.
Yes, there's one piece that is in terracotta, in clay, but the rest are all in stone, and they seem to be local stone that was of the area. And also to be in sandstone, which here in Nova Scotia we think of as a rather soft stone, whereas the complexity of the carving that is evident in these works makes it seem a miracle to me that such delicacy was achieved.
You see, you look at the decoration that they use, you look at their feet, for example, and the anklets they have, the bracelets they have, and the garlands they put around their necks. And if you look at Lord Buddha, for example, if you see his neck, for instance, you see some sort of wrinkles on his neck. And that these details cannot be depicted by an ordinary person. It has to be a very good artist to do these things and portray our whole religion in the form of these sculptures. To me, you know, they are so beautiful that one can very easily forget about the problems of the day when one examines these sculptures, and that can certainly bring a lot of peace to human beings, and you don't have to take pills to get away from the trials and the tribulations of the life. I think they're a source of inspiration.
So as well as instructing in the religious traditions, they help to develop the mood in which one can receive the truths and meditate.
That's right.
I see. And this particular exhibit we have here until April the 13th at the Mount St. Vincent Art Gallery. And it's of interest to note that it's a gift to the people of Canada being held by the National Gallery in Ottawa from someone who came as an immigrant to this country from Mr. Tannenbaum. And he has made this as a permanent memorial, really, to his gratitude about the successful life he has been able to achieve here in this country. And I think the National Gallery has done a remarkable remarkable job, first of all, to have been able to ship these very valuable and rather delicate works across Canada to be enjoyed by us here.
It's amazing to see how they are able to bring this all the way from India, because the very fact that they have to be transported and shipped is not only expensive, but it also is a sort of a situation where you expose yourself to the danger of being robbed of these ancient sculptures, because I've had the experience of importing certain pieces of art from India. They never arrived in Halifax. They were just taken away in the transit. And I understand that nowadays it's extremely difficult to bring any artistic pieces from India because the government has banned the export.
Yes, most countries now have got specific legislation which does make it difficult, if not impossible, to take national treasures out of the country. Many of the major collections in the world would be very much the poorer if this legislation had taken effect earlier. And that's a very difficult philosophical concept. Should treasures stay within the country, or should they be able to go to other countries where they can be seen, not just by non-Indians in this case, but by Indians like yourselves who have also left the country?
Yeah, I think this is very important.
Yeah, I suppose the main impact of the exhibit for the non-Indian or the person who hasn't traveled to India and seen the works like this on site is this tremendous celebration of life and vitality, and we spoke about the interrelationship of man and animal here, but this joyous emphasis on the body And certainly, as you said earlier, a tremendous emphasis on the female body.
That's right.
Would you like to perhaps end on that, on something on that?
I think, as far as our Hindu religion is concerned, as far as our culture is concerned, and as far as our rituals are concerned, female has always been the center, is a focus. For example, if I were to perform any opening ceremony for my home, or if I were to marry my children, I cannot complete that ceremony without the presence of female. She was so important in all our rituals. The depiction of our physical body in these sculptures is just designed to distract the mind of the devotee, and just designed to sort of achieve an environment where he could sort of admire that beauty and at the same time pray to God. So it is not in itself an end. It is designed to serve a very, very noble purpose. And all these goddesses are shown as extremely beautiful ladies. We don't find anything other than that in those depictions, and they're all decorated with various kinds of ornaments.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Seth, for coming and sharing your life and your religion with us.
Thank you very much.
At the same time that we have the sculpture exhibit Brahma and Buddha in the downstairs gallery, we have in our upstairs gallery an exhibition of paintings by a young Toronto artist, Douglas Curtin. Douglas Curtin is a graduate of the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design. He got his BFA there a few years ago. And last year he worked with us at the Mount St. Vincent Art Gallery as our exhibitions officer. Since then, he has been in Toronto, where he's working with the Art Gallery of Ontario, and has had a very successful exhibit of his work there at a new alternative gallery called Mercer Union. We're fortunate to have that exhibit here, and very proud to be able to bring back someone who has studied at the Art College. Doug's originally from London, Ontario. His work might be seen to reflect a tradition in London, which is a fascination with and an exploration of objects. I know him to be somebody who admired the artist Jack Chambers, and his work, particularly in his depictions of images such as, single images such as a bed or a microphone or a harp, seems to invest each of the objects with real importance beyond their immediacy as microphones or harps or beds. I think for the viewer seeing this work for the first time, they will particularly enjoy it if they come very close to Doug's work and see the way in which he handles the paint, the texture and the translucency which the works then achieve. Both works, both exhibits will be on view at the Mount St. Vincent Art Gallery until April the 13th. And now for gallery news and reviews, what's on at the other galleries. At the Art Gallery of Nova Scotia, Ron Bolt. The Inner Ocean is in the second floor gallery until the 7th of April. And in the downstairs gallery, a 25-year retrospective of Tony Urquhart's work is on display until the 14th of April. The 5th Dalhousie Drawing Show opened last night at the Dalhousie Art Gallery and continues until the 4th of May. More about that show on a future broadcast. At the St. Mary's Art Gallery, William Kurelec's A Prairie Boy's Summer is on view until the 21st of May. It was organized by the Windsor Art Gallery. An exhibition called The Golden Years of Jazz is on at the Eye Level Gallery and features photographs by New York filmmaker Bob Parent. That closes on the 19th of April. Work by graduates of the MFA program at the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design is currently on view at the Anna Leon Owens Gallery and continues until the 24th of April. For information on current exhibits at the Centre for Art Tapes on Argyle Street, call 429-7299. We welcome your comments on gallery news and reviews. Please write to us, care of Gallery News and Reviews, Dalhousie Art Gallery, Dalhousie University, Halifax, Nova Scotia, B3H 3J5, or you can telephone 424-2403. I'm Mary Sparling. Thank you for watching.